I'm gonna try another take of this video. I don't usually do that, but I think the quality of the first one might have been in question. Plus, in some ways, I changed what I think because it goes back and forth. But anyway, hey everyone, gonna be discussing for a second time today, with the hair out before it gets done for work, the top of the MLB free agent pitching market for this season. I made a whole list, I think like an hour or two ago, and you gotta excuse the wind. I'm in North Carolina, and yeah, it's interesting ambience, I guess you'd say, ambiance, however you say it. Anyway, let me stop messing around. Point is that we're talking about some fits for Cease, Valdez, Suarez, King, Imai, and Gallen. Now, I want to quickly, I'm just going to say the fits because I don't feel like going through the whole rationale again, because you film it once and kind of just don't feel like doing the same exact video again. Plus, I have a couple changes in my mind with it. But anyway, so the thinking is that with a number of teams, most teams have pitching needs. Almost every team has a bullpen need, other than maybe the Padres, which even then, with Jason Adam out. Anyway, that's not even what I'm talking about here. What I'm saying is that I sounded in my teeth that it just ate some brunch, just thoroughly filling and mostly enjoyable. Questionable service, but the food was good. Why are you just running through the light? What the heck? These people can't drive for anything. That's crazy. They almost crashed. Please don't crash into me. Anyway, out here walking. Anyway, what I was saying was that as I wait for this light, some teams that I see filling their voids with trade targets or lesser pitchers than we're discussing here are the Astros, honestly the Angels, because I don't see that any of these guys wanting to play for the Angels, the Braves because they're cheap, the Orioles because Michael Elias seems to be allergic to spending money long-term on a starting pitcher. What is up with this light? Come on. And did I say the Athletics? Astros, Athletics, just a number of teams that aren't necessarily applicable to this conversation. I've gone back and forth actually with a few of these names too, with where they could go and where it makes the most sense and who I actually think would spend the money. So, starting with Dylan Cease, I think that the best fit, and this is consistent with the first time I did this, is the Giants. The reasoning being, he's pitched in that division for a while. He has some consistency issues and a home run problem. And that park in San Francisco is generally pretty good for suppressing offense. But likewise, outside of someone like Imai or Gallen, which I don't know what you're getting with Gallen, Cease does have the quality, and the underlying numbers suggest that he should be better and will be better. That's why these sources will say have him ranked higher than other pitchers. That's what I'm trying to say. I don't even feel like mentioning the other teams because pretty much any team could be involved with him. But I'm saying with Giants for Dylan Cease. Moving on to Framber Valdez. Again, like 7-8 teams could use him easily and could afford him. But we're just going to go with the Mets because what Framber Valdez provides is consistency. He'll have a little crazy moment here and there, like that cross-up incident, but generally speaking, he provides consistency and he throws a ton of innings. Doesn't throw necessarily hard, but he's crafty. Generally speaking, the offense... I had a call coming in. Anyway, he's able to suppress offense, and sure, he's getting older, but for a few years, I think he'd make a lot of sense for the Mets. Have some stability at the top with McLean and everyone else, just with whatever varying level of ability / consistency. So anyway, going past there, also that'll affect their closer situation, which is for another video. But my thinking there is they won't bring back their closer and they'll have to pick someone else, which, along with the bat, which again, whether that's Bregman, Alonso, whoever, to supplement Soto and Lindor, there should be a righty. That will free up the money for Fromber, for lack of a better way to put it. Moving on to Ranger, again, I've gone back and forth here because a lot of this comes down to where Kyle Tucker goes, because I think if Kyle Tucker goes to the Blue Jays, it suddenly makes it a little less, not necessary, but the rotation for the Blue Jays, unlike many teams, can be filled with lesser names and shorter contracts for less money than Ranger Suarez or Fromber or Cease, for that matter. So I have Ranger going there, but again, I think that's contingent on them not getting, not getting Kyle Tucker. Now, if they get Kyle Tucker, then they might go for someone like Imanaga or Imai or Gallen or really anyone at that point. But that's my thing here is, and I've actually switched this where Bellinger goes back to the Yankees and Tucker goes to the Dodgers, which again, that's a slight inconsistency of logic. But again, I think I've seen some stuff and thought about it, and it makes more sense that way than the reverse. Plus, one of the names on this list is going to go to the Yankees. So, yeah. The first video, speaking of that, I was debating between, we'll go with those two and then finish up with Gallen. So we have, to recap real quick, Cease to the Giants, Fromber to the Mets, Ranger to the Blue Jays. But again, that's contingent upon basically Bellinger going back to the Yankees and Tucker going to the Dodgers. I'm not going to repeat that because I already done repeated it. We're going down to Imai versus King. Again, I think there are probably 5 or 6 realistic teams for this. However, with who I've already put in their place, we have, for King, a return to the Yankees, the Tigers, or someone else. Because and mind you, I have the Red Sox. I don't know if I mentioned the Red Sox earlier, but I have the Orioles and Red Sox both getting someone via trade, maybe even from the same team, but that's a different video. So I'm counting those two out for King, and I'm putting King. Where am I putting King? Let's put Michael King on the Cubs, actually. The thinking being, his stuff is nasty, they have some pitching, they could always get another, whether that's Imanaga accepting the qualifying offer, which is apparently not going to happen, but you can never say never. They could get someone like Jose Quintana back, or Angelini, or someone else, just someone else to fill in, and in case guys like Steele, Cease are not healthy, you have someone to pitch rather than just no one, like stretching your farm system or converting relievers or anything like that, something crazy. But I mean, they have Ben Brown, they have, I think Assad's still there if he's healthy, Cade Horton obviously. So anyway, they have plenty of names, so I'm putting King there because I think the upside is high. They don't want to sign someone long-term, so they'll do something like, I don't know, 3 years for him, and that'll just be that. Imai then goes to the Yankees because, as I said, if the 3 main ones were the Yankees, the Cubs, and the Giants, I already have the Cubs and the Giants getting someone, so we're going to put Imai then on the Yankees, which I think makes some sense. They've had Japanese players in the past. They could even dip in and get another one. And yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense. He's able to fill in. Unlike King, I don't know that he's had injury problems in the past, but for sure King has a consistency issue, and Cole's aging. Fried's awesome, Rodon's pretty good, but you add someone in there with Schmidt, Hill, Cole all coming back from injuries or still being injured. That's, I think, there. And that leaves Zach Gallen, who I will have going to the Tigers. The thinking is by next year, I think Mize becomes a free agent. Correct me if I'm wrong on that one. Olsen has injury problems. Cole becomes a free agent. Flair becomes a free agent. And then you basically just have Melton after that. So having Gallen, look at that wind. Gallen he's consistent in terms of being available. I think that's really important, especially on a team where at one point, not so much this past year, but the year before that, it was Scooble and then just chaos in terms of pitching. To have someone like Gallen who's going to be there every good day, maybe you get a better version of him at a less hitter-friendly park. That would be Detroit compared to Arizona. He does have something to prove still, and yeah, I just think that that's a good fit. So those are my was that 5 or 6? I think that was 6. Those are my 6, and this is the second time recording this video. But yeah, I think it makes some sense. I changed a little bit, but some of them stayed consistent. So let me know what you think, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.